This story is built from publicly available information about the disappearance and deaths of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon in Panama. I'm not here to accuse anyone, name suspects, or claim certainty where it doesn't exist. My only goal is a clear, chronological reconstruction of what is known and an honest line where the record goes quiet. Kris Kremers was 21. Lisanne Froon was 22. Both were Dutch students from the Netherlands. Kris had recently finished studies in cultural social education, focused on art education. Lisanne had a degree in applied psychology and was known as a passionate volleyball player. They had saved for months, planned this trip as something meaningful, and arrived in Panama on March 15, 2014. After touring for about 2 weeks, they reached Boquete on March 29th. The plan was to stay with a local family and volunteer with children while improving Spanish. Boquete is important here. It sits near dense, mountainous terrain around the Mar volcano area, with cloud forest conditions where weather and visibility can change fast. On April 1st, around 11 a.m., they went hiking on the Pianista trail near Boquete. That timestamp matters because later phone activity suggests trouble begins roughly 6 hours into the hike. The phones later showed emergency call attempts about 6 hours after the hike began. The first attempt was from Kris' iPhone at 16:39. Shortly after, at 16:51, an attempt was made from Lisanne's Samsung. On the morning of April 2nd, they missed an appointment with a local guide. This is the moment the situation becomes official and urgent for the people around them, because it suggests they didn't return as expected. By April 6th, their parents arrived in Panama. The search becomes full-scale, with police resources and additional support described in public summaries. A reward is also publicly mentioned in the record. The phone timeline that became public paints a specific picture. After the first day's failed calls, activity becomes intermittent. Phones are turned on at moments, then off again. Lisanne's phone battery is described as exhausting on April 4th after 5 o'clock, and it is not used again. Kris' iPhone continues to be powered on intermittently, mainly searching for reception. Between April 5th and April 11th, the iPhone is turned on multiple times, but the correct PIN is not entered again in the publicly described summary, either no PIN or an incorrect PIN. The last recorded power on is April 11th at 10:51, and the final power off is 11:56. On April 8th, the camera takes around 90 flash photos between 19 o'clock and 22 o'clock, described as deep in the jungle and near complete darkness. Public descriptions say some images suggest proximity to a river or ravine. Among the noted details are a twig with plastic bags on a rock, a backpack strap, a mirror on a rock, and the back of Kris' head. 10 weeks later, June 14th, a local woman turns in Lisanne's blue backpack, saying she found it by a riverbank near her village of Alto Romero. Public inventory lists items inside: sunglasses, cash, an insurance card, a water bottle, the camera, and both phones reported as being in good condition. The backpack changes the geometry of the case. Public record notes that it leads to new searches along the river system. From this point, discoveries become scattered items and later remains appear in locations not limited to the original trail narrative. Public summaries describe Kris' denim shorts found on a rock across a tributary, some kilometers from where the backpack was recovered. Later, closer to the backpack location, a pelvis and a boot containing a foot are reported as found. After that, at least 33 bones are described as widely scattered along the riverbank. DNA testing confirmed the remains belonged to Kris and Lisanne. Another hard constraint appears in the public record. Only a small fraction of the total skeletal remains where recovered figures cited publicly are around, 10% for Lisanne and 5% for Kris. That limitation matters because it restricts what can be concluded with certainty about the exact final events. In later reporting, Dutch investigators are described as viewing a fatal accident, often summarized as a fall after getting lost, as the most likely explanation. That is presented as an assessment of likelihood, not a fully witnessed reconstruction. Here is the honest line. The public record gives times, devices, recovered items, and confirmed identifications. But it does not provide a single, definitive, fully proven minute-by-minute explanation for every gap, especially between the last normal moments on the trail and the later scattered discoveries. Any claim that pretends otherwise is stepping beyond what can be proven publicly. As of today, what remains solid is this. They started a hike near Boquete on April 1st. Emergency call attempts appear that afternoon. They did not return. Searches followed. A backpack with phones and a camera was found on June 14th. And later, scattered remains were discovered and DNA confirmed. A definitive single cause of death is not established publicly, while later reporting describes a fatal accident as the most likely explanation. If new official material appears in the future, this picture could change.